Find Freyja is not affiliated in any way with OkCupid or any other dating service. It is intended solely for critique and satire. If you find real wisdom or advice here, well, that's just a coincidence, baby. And now, it's time to get cozy.
Happy Freyja's Day, and welcome again to Find Freyja, the podcast that turns online dating into a role-playing game. I'm Mark.
And I'm Natasha.
And, quick point, I actually did a little bit of research into Norse mythology recently.
You never tell me anything.
Well, recently as in last night, after you'd gone to bed. Our Friday may not actually be Freyja's Day. As we say, it is possibly, depending on what etymology you follow, Frigga's Day. But there is some confusion as to whether Freyja and Frigga are the same goddess with the same origin, because I think it depends on whether you're going with like Norse or Germanic tribes. But interesting little note. But we're gonna keep saying that because Friday is Freyja's Day to us.
Also, totally ruined like the entire thing we've just established. So like,
yeah. And anyway, we post episodes on Fridays, so it's Freyja's Day regardless. It's our Freyja's Day. How about that?
The new gods are here.
Speaking of American gods, Gillian Anderson's in town.
Let's go. I was gonna say let's go 100 down, and then the question was like, well, then what? Hey, you're neat.
You want to hang out?
Oh yeah. You want to like grab lunch?
Okay, so let's go straight into messages. Got a bonsoir, jolie demoiselle, ça va bien?
C'est bien. Au revoir.
Which is basically just French "hey sup."
Yeah.
Hi, you are such a lovely girl. I would like to know more about you. What do you think if we grab a coffee sometimes?
One sentence.
Sometimes?
At least there was a question mark at the end.
Yeah. 76% enemy. So I think that would be a terrible idea.
I'll grab coffee, just not with you. Hello, being I am 61, I have enjoyed most of all my dream things, but one. The best time was with a married couple. His wife wanted to watch her hubby and me suck and play with each other's cocks. But wow! When I put my hand around his cock...
His cock. All one word.
His
with,
cock.
With a capital H.
His cock. And played, he was at least 12 plus, could not believe it. I could not suck much of his cock. I thought my cock was big as very thick, but long. We took turns fucking his wife, and I wanted to watch him fuck his wife. I rubbed his balls as he was fucking her, and he shot such a load in her. Then I took seconds, and her pussy was so filled with his cum and felt so good as I fucked her and shoot off my load in her. We enjoyed many weekends. Blank. What are you going for with that story?
Basically, probably looking for, especially, like, kinky people who would want to
Here's my prowess.
do that. But, like, I don't know. It's not like not a dating story. It's like...
It's a fuck story.
It's a Penthouse forum letter.
It's erotica. It's just, like, poorly written erotica.
I never thought this would happen to me, but I swear every word of this is true.
Yeah, yeah, right?
Oh, here's a long one.
Oh, boy.
Wow, quite a long one. One of my date I like, even if we see each other one time, was in August 2012. We never met, and she proposed to me if I wanted to accompany her to the Maine and we camp and go to the sea for a weekend. I said yes right away. It was super cool, even if we not at all a match. Personality clash on many matters, but we still had great fun. And one of my best memory in my life. I insisted to go at the beach before going back to blank, but the sky starts getting darker in the middle of the day. It was super sunny, but far we could see black cloud coming. It started raining, and after a few minutes storms burst. The wind becomes very strong. Lightning crack everywhere. Lightning crack.
Lightning crack.
Sounds delicious. It becomes crazy. The waves were so big, everybody quitting the beach. But me, I take my clothes off and enter the sea.
I'm going to say I enter the sea from now on. That does sound very dangerous.
Yeah, well, when like lightning is everywhere, you don't want to go swimming.
No.
It was fantastic. I walk until the water goes to my shoulder, jumping at each big waves. I start singing very loud. Nobody could hear me. Too much wind, waves, storm, lightning. It was incredible. I had so much fun. Jumping in the waves, turning on myself. Swirling is the word, I think. There was only me and a local sitting on his surfboard. And a local sitting on his surfboard, looking at the spectacle. My date on the beach did not stay long. She went inside. I think I stayed there almost 20 minutes. Minutes I will never forget. We also eat so much delicious lobster. Anyway, here's my answer to your nice question. Sorry for my English that is far from perfect to narrate a story like that. I hope you'll understand French enough to read my profile. I love the part with your bag that has all your life in it. And, of course, that you are a free spirit, good at chilling, being one with nature, slackline walking, and your sense of the flow. Lucky humanity that some allow themselves to be like you, who will be able to transmit about life itself if no one take the time to really go with the flow. I like that very much. Hope you enjoyed my story.
It sounds like this guy's first language is French, and this would probably be pretty good in French. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying, like, there's probably a lot missing in translation.
Right, yeah.
Emotionally speaking.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, like, every once in a while I get to have one of those really cool nature experiences that just stick with me. Like, if you read our website, faculty.ca, that's with a KV instead of a CU. You know, I have this whole bit about how I, climbed up onto a butte in the middle of Utah and just kind of like, had a bonfire and enjoyed nature for the night. And I get those kind of few and far between, and it's really awesome when I get to have that kind of nature experience. I don't recommend, diving into the ocean when there's lightning everywhere, but
I mean, like, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I've witnessed some amazing storms too, so I know what that's like, and I miss thunderstorms here because we don't get them here. We do get wildfire smoke though, which has been clouding up the sky for the last few days, so that sucks.
We have nothing to complain about though.
Yeah, I mean,
people have lost their homes.
Yeah, people are losing their homes up the province, but it does affect my breathing, so that sucks for me. But yeah, this guy's got a pretty cool story. Do you think that's worth responding to, or
I don't know,
maybe keeping it around? Yeah, that's
it's a cool story. Like, that's a good way to like catch someone's interest.
Yeah, it is pretty lengthy though, for a first message, and we did ask for the story, but he does specifically mention stuff in our profile, so yeah. I think that's a good opening message. Kudos to you, sir. Wow, you are absolutely adorable. Thanks. Is he carrying a shotgun? Oh, it's a guitar.
Shotgun. This is not America.
No, it was just like in the thumbnail. Like, he kind of looks like he's auditioning for The Punisher.
9.
That's kind of what where the shotgun thing came from.
Why don't we make our own story? How are you?
And your profile picture is a chest.
And you're very enemy-ish.
How about we don't make a story?
Hi, interesting profile, smiley face. Sadly, I don't really have any funny online dating stories to share, though I can make one up if you like. Well, why didn't you? That would have been interesting.
Yeah, you could have made one up.
instead you chose not to.
Yeah. I'll pass.
I dated a girl here, and we went out together like 4 times, and the last time we went out together was to do a little resto pub on blank. Everything was going wonderful. She asked me if I was happy with meeting her so far, which I was, and she replied she also felt the same, and we started talking about how weird it can be to date through a dating site, and I asked her if she had a few dates. She said something along a few, but not that much. She then asked me how it was for me, to which I replied I was talking with another woman and that night before she asked me to go out during the weekend, but I told that I had started dating another woman that was looking good, and I did not felt like right to play with 2 relationships at the same time, and we went on talking about other stuff in general. As soon as I finished saying that, she paused, got up, and looked at me and said, I will not accept that you entertain a friendly relationship with another woman. I've had enough of this, and she left, paying her bill and just leaving, never answering me back. So yeah, I read the profile. Hope it fills your need of curiosity.
That was all 1 sentence.
Oh man, gotta get some punctuation in there.
Yeah. And actually, does an ellipsis count as a sentence full stop?
No, it doesn't. Okay, maybe, but still, like it's just a pause, right?
It's
a paragraph.
Like we've talked about, not sending people walls of text before, and this is just a giant paragraph with no stops in it, so it's exhausting to read.
I'm curious why, like, what's, when you're writing like, you're a writer, you do your writing thing, and it's wonderful and perfect and beautiful to read, and like,
well, thank you.
And like,
speaking of which, I've been optioned by a producer this week, sight unseen, for a script that's not even been developed yet, which is fairly rare from what I understand. So I had a pretty cool. I had some pretty cool news this week. And
I got a master's degree. Both of those things have nothing to do with this podcast, but we're mentioning it anyway.
It's us, so it's our project, so we can mention what's going on.
Power couple.
Anyway,
just like, when I write, I've had to practice writing. Well, I come from a creative writing background too, so like periods make sense.
Yeah.
Like, and sentence, like, just like,
paragraph breaks.
Yeah, just so, like, why would you just... How do you come to the point in life where you just type a sentence that's a paragraph? Is kind of like I see this in academic writing a lot.
This almost reads like a predictive text paragraph. Like he just kept hitting the middle button.
Like, just like very stream of consciousness kind of thought.
Still though, I mean, what I'm getting out of that is that
I didn't get much out of it because I was just waiting for the sentence to end, and it never did.
Well, I mean, what I'm getting out of it is that somebody said that, like, I won't let you speak to another woman if we're dating, or...
It sounded like I don't want to be in a polyamorous relationship, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's valid.
Well, he said he didn't feel right to play with 2 relationships at the same time. That's fine. I don't think that's a weird response from her, though.
I think that's totally fine.
If he's already getting serious about someone else, then, like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. If you're saying, well, I mean, if you're dating someone else, then, like,
I'm gonna go fuck off somewhere else.
We met on a dating site, so yeah, I'm cool with just leaving. Yeah, that's not really notable, I think.
No. This is also not this is one of those things, again, where people just tell us bad things about themselves.
Yeah. And it's not even a particularly bad thing.
It's just like...
a thing that happened once.
Yeah.
And our last message for today is, "You're so beautiful," 5 heart eyes pictures.
Emoticons. Are they when did we stop calling them emoticons?
I don't know. It was sometime within the past, it was within the past decade. I know that because I remember calling them emoticons, within the past,
5 years.
Well, like
Five,
since
10 years?
the transition was since I moved here, and that was 7 years ago. So at some point, yeah. I don't know.
Like when, yeah. Just a random thought.
I don't know. We always relabel everything.
I always call them. I've always called them emoticons, and people are like, "It's emojis." And I'm
well,
like,
I mean, I remember when they were called smileys.
Yeah, so do I.
Before that.
Because we didn't have like the actual picture. We just had the. There's a word.
I
for
think
that.
it's probably branding. Someone probably branded emoji as like.
Do you think it's trademarked?
I mean, there's a movie now, but. For some reason.
Because we can't have nice things.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. But let's get into questions. And our first question up is a very hot button issue these days. Do you think the military should ban transgender people from service? Obviously that's a big issue going on in the States right now.
Except it's resolved.
Is it?
Yep. Well, first of all, the answers are yes, no, and I'm not sure.
Yeah.
In the States, the military came out saying that we are not changing our policies, despite what Trump thinks the world should look like.
I did read something about how the White House wants to draw up a policy, though. So
that's not gonna go.
No, it's not. But I think it's one of those things where it just comes out of nowhere to distract people from other bigger things that could get them in more trouble.
Well, I think the issue that people like the far right or like white supremacist, let's just call it white supremacist, or like thinking about is that trans people are using military money to get operations, and that's not true.
Well,
it's true for like a minority.
Well, I mean, like that's the thing.
But they've also served and earned that money.
Yeah, they do serve. They do join the military.
Like they're fighting for the country. Therefore, they're allowed to have their rights.
Right.
Like don't be an asshole about it. Like, why don't you go fight?
Like you get you joined for college money or to get money for your family or maybe to help someone in your family's illness.
Like they're all diverse needs for joining the military, but
also just like it's not like they're they have an overabundance of recruiting right now. Like numbers are down, they're way down.
They should be happy for whoever signs up. Yeah, and they get rights, yes, because they put their lives on the line for a country that is going to shit right now. So they should be getting more benefits than they do right now. So
we're gonna say yes, and I will not agree with anybody who says no. I think that's very important to her. It's a stupid hill to die on.
It's a silly thing to talk about right now. Yeah. Like there are much more important issues.
Such as, do you have an ex that you would really like to date again? Yes or no? No.
Freyja might.
I don't think she would really like to date them again, though. I think she just kind of moves forward. Like she gets what she needs out of somebody, and then when she's gotten what she wanted, she just kind of goes ahead.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But I also don't think that that's necessarily a healthy thing for somebody. Like if you meet someone on a dating site and they answer yes to this question, that kind of brings up some issues. Like am I just kind of a temporary replacement for that person, or like do you have some kind of major baggage that you're bringing into this?
No, that's a really good point, because if you still want to be with this question, let's take the word date out and say you want to be with them.
Yeah.
So you still have feelings for them. Therefore, you're not moved on from that relationship. So for me, that would be a red flag.
I mean, frankly, it's not a bad question to ask on a dating site. Like, are you still in love with an ex? If you are, see ya.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of that baggage. Do you think she cares, though?
No.
Okay.
Because she's not in it for dating, right? So, whatever. But, yeah.
Would you ever consider having sex in a church, yes or no?
I've thought about this before.
It's a building.
Yeah. it's true.
It's a building that
you've attached meaning to.
It's a building that they've been able to afford to build because they're not taxed.
Yeah, but it's a tax-free land.
Yeah. So, yeah. Sure.
Why not?
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. Like, it's really just a question that's asking, like, do you think this is sacrilegious?
How religious are you?
Which doesn't affect me. I don't think she'll care. Although if someone says no, she might be like, why, dude?
But she doesn't care.
No.
Coexist. You're dating someone new. You discover that they have a housemate the same gender as you. This makes you feel uncomfortable or doesn't faze you one bit.
This
has happened to me.
Really?
Because your old roommate was a woman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't make you uncomfortable.
No, I'm just saying,
yeah.
Like, that's the question is how it doesn't make you feel. And for me, it was like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, I trust my partner.
Historically, I've gotten along better with female roommates. It's just, no sort of necessary reason for it. I just happen to... I tend to get along better with women. I grew up with a lot of strong women in my life. My mom has 4 sisters, and my dad has 2 sisters, and there just weren't a whole lot of men in my family, so I tend to be really comfortable around women. And not to say that my male roommates have been terrible, but I have had terrible male roommates. But yeah, it really depends on the roommate. It's entirely up to the situation.
You can't be sexist here.
Yeah, because I think generally people who would answer that this makes them feel uncomfortable would be like, no, I'm not gonna have like another dude around my girl.
Yeah.
Like the possessive kind of attitude.
Well, I mean, and it's kind of like the narrative that we're told as we grow up in Western society that like men and women can't be friends with each other, like in a very heteronormative way. So, like,
well, that's another thing. This is also a very heteronormative question because, like, if I was like a possessive dude and you were living with like a gay man.
Yeah.
Like, what excuse would I have to be that jealous?
Yeah. Or like, what if everyone's bisexual? As some theories are now actually coming out of, saying that everyone is sexually fluid because, and whether or not like your sexual preferences like turn out to be one thing or another has to do with epigenetics, or like whether or not certain genes are kind of activated as you like progress through life due to environmental factors. So there's like this running like theory now that we're all like sexually fluid, and it just depends on like how we grow up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Outside influences and things like that. I think Freyja probably lives in a lot of co-ops.
I don't think she gives.
Or communes.
So
she doesn't care, and I don't. But I'm saying like, she probably lives with a lot of people at pretty much any given time. Yeah. So she probably won't accept someone who's uncomfortable with that.
It's probably really weird to her,
and that's probably quite important to her. I think. Because that's her life. Do you prefer the people in your life to be simple or complex?
What's a simple person? Like a simpleton? Or like just like let's define some terms here.
I think simple in this context probably just means basic.
But like define that too, because that like doesn't really mean much. It's like there's no such thing as a like simple person.
Well, just like just somebody like, who's
Dave gets up in the morning, cooks the same breakfast every day, goes to work, comes back home.
In that context, I think you could replace simple with boring. Like, do you like boring or interesting people, really? And some people do oddly like just really boring people.
Yeah, but like I feel weird saying that because it's like it's not boring necessarily, just like their preference. They like routine and the same things, and like that's fine, you know.
Or is it just, you know, somebody who's really multifaceted and intense, or for complex, or is it somebody who just likes, you know, very kind of small town things and little,
like that woman you met who'd never gone out of the town.
God. So I was on a road trip and I stopped at it was a cross country U.S. road trip. And I stopped somewhere in southern rural Indiana for just to fill up on gas and get some snacks at a truck stop. And this woman behind the counter was talking to this one of her customers, and she said something to the effect of, "I've never been outside of this town." And this was a woman in probably her late 20s, early 30s. So she had never been out of this rural town, and kind of the scary thing about that is that she probably votes.
Yeah.
So, and I find myself uncomfortable with that, because if you've never seen anything about the world outside of your own small little farm town in, you know, rural southern Indiana, how much can you really know about the world?
Maybe she was a robot. Maybe you actually just passed through like Robot Town. Like a secret like government project where like everyone's like, "No, I haven't left." Because I am Botman.
I've never left, and neither can you.
I firmly believe
not to say that somebody living in a small town can't be educated and can't be like wise about the ways of the world. Just if you've never seen anything, if you've never even been to, like, the nearest city was Terre Haute, and she hadn't even been there.
No, I'm gonna say no to what you just said, because even if you're book smart, doesn't mean you know shit. Because if you don't match that book smart with actual experience, that knowledge is meaningless. It's just point, it's words, and it's nothing. Like, I firmly believe that everyone needs to live in at least 2 countries to experience different cultures, because that's when you actually figure out, oh yeah, people do things differently.
Yeah, like you don't have a global perspective.
Yeah, until you've really done that, and like you can't learn that from a book.
And I'll tell you, every time I cross the border, the media is completely different. Like, the United States media is very fear-based and very sensationalist.
Well, and they always say that Canada is like America's hat, but we're like a lot different.
Yeah. But I mean, media here is like, you don't really know about, like, if you're living in the States, you don't really understand what American media is like until you look at it from an outside perspective. Because I didn't. I lived in the States for 30 years, and I moved here, and now I'm really seeing kind of what's up from the outside. Like, you get this completely different perspective because you're not immersed in it.
Well, it's funny living in Canada and living in the States, and then living in Iceland, and then knowing how everyone I met in Iceland was just like fucking Americans. Like, they're ridiculous, and like they're basically the joke of the world, is like the opinion that I got from that experience. So that was really interesting.
Now, that actually brings up a different context to this question too, because like people living in Iceland lead relatively simple lives, because it's sort of like it's a very isolated country, and
they have several universities, though. Research universities.
Yeah.
So it's not like no one does anything.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a limited scope of what you can do from an island, the small island nation.
Yeah, but a lot of people like leave and go study abroad and
and those obviously aren't the people I'm talking about.
No, but like if you choose, like if you...
But you know, there are towns across that island where they're just in the middle of nowhere.
No, and people live like simple lives. Yeah. Like, I go out and I do my fishing every day and like come back. No, like I went to a town that had 200 people, and on a Friday night it was like 10 and no one was out. Just like there was no nightlife, like, and weirdly enough, this town of 200 people had Iceland's witchcraft museum, which is something that I'm still trying to like wrap my head around. It like we just came to this, like, it's like in the northwest of Iceland, of this weird like fisherman's town, and they just have this like sorcery museum where you can find the necropants. So that was a really interesting experience, but like it does bring that term to mind, as like people wake up in the morning and like they go to the docks, and like that's kind of like what they do. That is their life, and they like choose to do that. They're like totally happy and fine with that, which is fine.
Bringing it back to the question though, do you prefer that kind of person, or do you prefer someone to be more kind of worldly or complex, or
I think
into a lot
both
of
are
multifaceted?
interesting.
Yeah, in their own way, yeah.
Like,
I tend to surround myself with more complex people, I would say.
well, yeah, I mean, just from being in like an academic environment, like there are no simple people really around.
Well, I mean, well, look at my industry too. I mean, there really aren't simple people in the film industry.
Yeah, so it's just like, and
We're all artists.
and working in mental health is like there's never a dull moment. So sometimes I think it'd be nice to have a simpler lifestyle.
Oh yeah,
Just like, cause like,
I don't know about permanently though.
not permanently, but it'd be nice to have like a seasonal thing.
There should be like simple life vacations that you can take.
I wouldn't mind being like oh, I wake up every
like,
morning and like go work on the farm or something.
Where like you kind of, instead of paying for your vacation, you work in like a little fishing village or something.
I think you can do that actually.
I think you can as part of an organization.
Yeah.
Like Woof.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, actually, like, have it as a vacation package.
There are a
that
lot
you can
of
offer.
benefits to leading a more simple life. Like, it's a lot less stressful than, like, the complexities of, like, living in a huge metropolitan area and trying to navigate so many issues on a daily basis.
Well, I chose to live in a big city, so...
I didn't. It just happened to be where my university was located. So that was kind of just a coincidence, I guess. I would not want to live in a big city if I had a choice. But alas.
So,
I think Freyja would...
Freyja probably likes a simple life, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
And,
I don't think she cares, though,
No.
about anyone else.
No, and she'll meet other people. And she'll accept anyone who's, complex.
Free love.
She probably thinks,
She's complex.
so-called complex people are, like, super deep.
Yeah, well, she probably thinks she's complex. You're up against a nearly impossible challenge. Your ideal partner pushes you hard to succeed, reminds you to be realistic, or stands back but comforts you if you fail.
I feel like you can do all three of these at once.
Yeah.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Like, you should, like, succeed, but please be realistic, and I will be here if you don't succeed the way you think you are. But also the fourth option being, like, there's also other things you can do. Like, it's not just these three things.
Or, help them.
If it's a
pull off that
nearly
task.
impossible... Okay, so if it's a nearly impossible challenge...
Like, what are we talking about here? Then?
Like, oh, I just started hiking, I'm going to Mount Everest now. Then I would just be like, no, man, you're gonna die. Even experienced hikers die.
Yeah. Yeah, that would depend on the situation, really.
Yeah. Like, it depends what your definition of nearly impossible challenge is. Because, like, in my worldview, if I was doing something nearly impossible... Like, it depends what I'm doing, because you would either be like, no, that's kind of psychotic, or like, no, that, like, go for that. Like, that's something you need to do, because no one's done that before.
See, like, the example that immediately came to mind for me was that, I'm going to take down this global corporation because I think they're corrupt and they need to stop their nefarious ways. It's like, okay, buddy, you do you, I guess.
Can we get you some help? Why don't you follow me to this nice facility?
I think, yeah, like, for me, I don't know how I'd answer this. This is a question I would probably skip if I were,
skipping questions.
I might have even. And I might have even if I still had a profile. But I think Freyja probably likes people who... She probably needs a push.
Yeah. But her ideal partner wouldn't give her a push. It would be to stand back and comfort her.
Yeah.
Because she's independent.
Yeah.
She does her own thing.
She'll probably accept any answer here. How are our likes down to 1,500? Did we lose our stats?
That's a drastic decrease from 500.
Maybe they realized we were maxed out and we kind of like looped around somehow.
I don't know.
When you are angry or frustrated, do you ever throw, smash, kick, or hit inanimate objects? Yes, frequently. Sometimes. Used to, but not anymore, or never. We've had conversations about this, how...
Have we?
Yeah, about how that's actually healthy to like have that kind of like venting.
Your scream room.
Yeah, I had this idea for a place just called Vent, where you can go into, like a soundproof room and just scream as loud as you want, and you can go into somewhere else and just you'd have safety precautions, but you could just smash stuff and break things as like a little outlet. And haven't you said that studies show that that's actually healthy behavior, having that kind of outlet?
I don't know of any studies offhand that have shown that, but I think it's good to have just like healthy coping outlets.
Yeah. Like
from what I know, like these could actually be alternatives to like self-harm, is like hitting a pillow because you're frustrated, or like when I was a kid, this may sound kind of like psychopathic, but I used to burn things, and just like anything really that I didn't like.
I was a little pyro when I was a kid.
And my mom found out about this one day when I started burning jewelry in my bedroom. I was like 8, and she was like, "Okay, honey, let's not do this. Here's a deal, though. We can go outside, give you like a fire-safe bowl, and under my supervision, then you can burn something that doesn't emit toxic things from it." So she gave me like a safe way to do something that was not like safe.
Yeah.
So I think this question is more just like could be rephrased to like, how do you handle anger in a healthy way? Because this almost sounds like it's screening like behavior. Like,
well, it also specifies inanimate objects, so I think that's not necessarily like a screening for like abusive behavior or anything like that.
And I disagree, because it can definitely be used as a screening tool for domestic violence.
Right. But it's kind of hard to gauge, though, because if someone says yes, it might just mean they have healthy outlets for that.
But you don't know that from this question.
Right, so that's
also,
why I'm saying
like,
it might not be an effective screen for that.
Yeah, but like, yes, if you say yes frequently, like, that's a range of things. Like, it's a poorly... I don't like this question at all.
I think we could say sometimes, but have her specify that it's not people or at people.
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing I was getting at.
Yeah.
If you're like throwing it near someone, or like if you're fighting with your partner and you like throw something at them, like that's abusive. Like people, like just because it doesn't hit you doesn't mean it's not domestic violence. So like, there's a fact for you. For the day. It's not okay to do that around someone else unless you have some sort of like, okay, now it's like throwy thing time, but like not at me.
She'll probably accept anything but yes frequently, I think. Just from her perspective,
yeah,
it's kind
I'm
of
just kind of interested of like used to, but not anymore. Like, what does that mean?
Well, I've gone through therapy or something like that. I've found a healthier outlet. Yeah.
But see, that like then implies that this is not a healthy thing.
Right.
Do you get where I'm going with this question? Like how it is kind of screening for negative behavior. or like abusive behavior.
Yeah, I'm writing, but not towards people. Venting is healthy.
Sure.
And that's probably a little or somewhat
important.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship you expect will last for the rest of your life, is it important to you that it be the most satisfying sexual relationship you have ever had? Yes or no?
That's a good question.
Depends on your outlook for that relationship.
Well, it depends on what else is going on in that relationship. Because if you're perfectly compatible in every other conceivable way, but your sex is just sort of like, it's pretty good. You know, it's not the best sex I've ever had, but it's good. You know, that's perfectly acceptable, I think.
I would kind of go for a little bit higher than that. I think it should be like...
Well, I mean, considering, like, in my scenario, the circumstances are that you have no complaints over anything else.
Like, literally everything else is
everything is like, this is my
person.
perfect match. Just... You know, sometimes sex isn't that great. But it's good.
But, like, I guess that's your priority then. Like, if you're someone who prioritizes, like, the other components of your relationship over sex.
Right.
So, like, I would say, like, yeah, it's important. I think it's more important for me to have stability in a relationship and, like, someone I can trust and like all these other things. And if, like, as long as the sex is at least, like, good to, like, pretty good most of the time, then, like, that's fine.
Right, and I mean, that's in the question, though. I mean, the most satisfying sexual relationship you have ever had.
So that means someone would be if you said no, you'd be willing to discard everything else about a person based on the fact that you don't have good sex. So you're basically just saying you're friend-zoning someone?
If you say yes, then it's like you have to... It has to be
the
best sex you've ever had.
So you're looking for the perfect person.
Right.
Which doesn't usually exist.
I mean, it doesn't specify other facets of the relationship. I'm just saying in a scenario, if everything else was amazing and the sex was, like, still great, but you've had better... I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Sure. I think
bit of a pause there. What's up?
Well, I'm still here, so what do you have to complain about?
No. Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what else is going on in the relationship, though. I think
there's like...
I think sex, your sexual relationship being satisfying becomes more important as other aspects of the relationship are kind of like less intense or amazing.
It also just depends on your goals too.
Right.
Like, what's your life circumstance? Like, what is important for you in this moment? So I don't know. It's just a lot of these questions we end up making up scenarios of what we interpret the question
Well, that's because they really only give you yes or no.
But think of this, like, everyone else is doing the exact same thing, so we're all playing this weird guessing game with all these questions.
Well, I think a lot of people just go with gut reaction on this one, and, you know, since we're a discussion podcast, we delve into them a little more deeply. I don't think it's that important for Freyja because I think she's had great sex with, like, tons of people, and she's like, oh, no one will ever top that.
Also, she doesn't want to be with someone for the rest of her life far, so...
But this is a hypothetical anyway. If you're in a relationship you expect will last for the rest of your life. Which, you know, obviously, if you're on this site, you probably don't have that.
No.
Unless you're looking for a third.
Yeah, or a fourth, or a fifth, or a 17th, or... God, that'd
What's
be a lot.
going on in your life? I think she'll accept anything. I don't think she necessarily needs to require somebody to say yes or no.
You know the thing about... I mean, like, this might sound a little bit judgmental, but, like, the thing about polyamory is, like, how do you... Like, that sounds exhausting to have, like, so many partners. I'd just be like... I know some people have said it's, like, extremely supportive and a great environment if it works for them.
Well, that's the thing, because I think you can sort of mitigate your attention between people as they also do the same thing? Because in an ideal polyamorous relationship, you want all partners to support each other.
Yeah. I think just, like, for me personally, it's like, I have so much stuff that I do every single day. I sometimes don't have time for you.
Yeah, like, is there a hierarchy in polyamorous relationships where, like, if you're with, several people, are there people who are like, oh, well, I'll attend to you on Sundays, but, like, the rest of the week, I'm with all these other people.
Like, forgive our ignorance on this, but, like, for me, it would just be like, I'm sorry, I just, like, I quit. I'm just gonna go live in a cave for the rest of my life and do my academics.
Well, I just read some news report about this guy who was arrested, and he had something like 23 wives or something like that, and I'm just wondering, how.
There's no way you can pay attention to that many people.
Unless that's all you do.
Yeah.
And you're like
in
like a classroom environment all the time, where you're communicating with all of them at once.
Just sounds so exhausting.
Yeah.
But I feel like in those cases, it's like a lot about sex and stuff like that. But anyway.
And just how, like, different ways in which you connect with different people.
Group sex with 3 or more people.
Hey, that's relevant.
Speaking of which, I have tried it. It seriously interests me, or I have little or no interest.
Freyja has definitely tried it.
Yeah.
and has enjoyed herself. For me, it's like, it's the same as, polyamorous relationships. It just seems exhausting. Like, I have to work hard enough to satisfy one person.
To imagine, like, another one or, like, several others.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably an interesting experience. I'm not knocking that.
It just sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it sounds difficult.
Maybe we're just old. Just like...
I'm quite a bit older than you. You're, like, at the age where you'd be having experiments like this.
Actually, I think for me, I'm just like, no, pay attention to me.
Right?
No, don't you wander off over there. I'm over here. I just don't think I
mean, again, if you can be in a situation where everyone's into each other and not just, like, it's like, oh, like, 2 guys on 1 girl or, 2 girls on 1 guy who don't interact with each other otherwise.
It sounds like sweaty. And, I don't know.
Stinky.
Yeah.
And messy.
And especially if you're just with, like, other guys, like, I don't want that much cum near me. I just don't.
I mean, I think the ideal situation for group sex, though, would be that, everyone's into everyone so that you don't have to pay as much, like, split your focus.
Like, you do you. If you want to go right ahead. We're just fucking old over here. Answer
she'll accept any, I think. Yeah. It doesn't matter, I think she'd want somebody who's
open to the idea.
Open to it, but there's no answer for that.
The answer that says I have little or no interest.
Yeah.
So, like, a little interest.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Is a woman who slept with 100 men a bad person? Nope.
Slut shaming. And
nope.
Let's not even explain this one. This is dumb. No, just keep going. We live in a new world now. How important is voting to you? Extremely important, very important, not so important, not at all important. How in the world is this not important?
This is another one of those questions where important comes up a lot, because how important is the importance of this importance? Because you have to figure out how important, your match is when they say that it's important to them. So it's another one of those really weird meta questions. But how important is it to Freyja?
Oh god, I don't think it's so important to her. I don't think that's her mindset.
Yeah, it's something that's extremely important to me.
I think she's like a social justice warrior in the way that, like, it's online,
like, or the lazy kind.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I don't always vote in, like, local and midterm elections.
You should, because
I know I should, but I don't always. And I do vote in the big elections, but I have also voted in the smaller ones. And in Canada, though, it's kind of like you do both at once, because you vote for a rider. Mm-hmm.
And then you vote for who, like, your because they represent.
Because we don't vote directly for prime ministers.
We
here.
vote for our representatives,
like local neighborhood representatives,
who then vote. No, they don't vote, do they? They just represent the number of votes, I think.
Yeah, it's something like that. And then like your neighborhood wins, and it's kind of like a really like micro level electoral college in that way, but I think it works better than the system in the States. Yeah. Because it's not fully bipartisan.
But I still think there's some gerrymandering going on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we live in a, like, it's pretty much absolute NDP in this neighborhood. Yeah. And so, frankly, if I don't want to vote, it doesn't matter.
No, because it'll always be NDP.
Yeah. Like, if I vote against it, it gets swallowed up in, you know, the majority. Yeah. If I do vote for it, it's, you know, like a drop in the ocean. So.
But at the same time, it's still important to vote.
Yeah. And, but I think that you should be able to vote outside of your district.
Yeah.
Just so stuff like that doesn't happen.
Well, I'm for, like, an entire popular vote. I don't know why we don't do that already. It makes sense. It's probably more technical for them to figure out.
Everyone's argument against it is that it would mean that specific cities basically turn the tide of an election. But, you know,
they do that anyway.
If they're clustered into large populations, it ends up being about as much as, you know, rural populations anyway. So,
well, it's like would be the same argument for like the swing states. Yeah. So,
I mean, I just don't like the idea that my vote doesn't count towards a total. Yeah. Where, you know, in those kinds of elections, your neighborhood could literally not matter at all.
Like, it's about having a say. Like, that's what, like, those democratic principles are about, which we obviously don't live under. But, like, your vote does count. It just doesn't count as much as it should.
Right, and there are situations where, you know, they don't have all the votes in yet, but the election's already decided, so your entire province doesn't matter. Yeah. Or your entire state, which happens. Yeah. So it's a broken system, but it is still important.
Go vote. Vote in your local elections. That's what I think is really important. Otherwise, then you get stupid fucking Vancouver bylaw officers giving you fucking parking tickets for parking in front of your own goddamn house.
Personal experience much? But hey, we've like, I've studied the bylaws, and I've found the solution to that.
You go, girl. You rock that shit.
Study your bylaws, people.
Because they don't.
Yeah, right? Are you fetish friendly? Bring out the toys. Never tried it, but I'm open-minded. Not sure / don't know what they really are. Or, ew.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, but I think like the whole like bring out the toys thing kind of
makes it seem
it's kind of reductive. Because it's like it's assuming that fetishes are just sex toys, which is not at all true. No. I think she'd say bring out the toys.
Yeah, I think it's a funny thing to say, but like not in this context.
Yeah.
Because it's not like.
And there have already been several of these questions, so I don't think we need to
go into it.
I think she'll accept any except you.
Yeah. King positive, yo.
Yeah. And that's probably somewhat important. She's not going to be banging anyone from here anyway. I mean, for multiple reasons. But
you know, besides the fact that she's fictional. Mm. It's your first date with someone you recently met. At the end of the date, they say, "I think I love you." Is it scary or sweet?
Scary.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Totally that's red flag.
I think in Freyja's case, though, she probably thinks it's sweet because she's probably done that before. Yeah. Like, live fast.
I think I love you. Let's get married in Vegas.
Or just
Do you think she's gotten married in Vegas?
No. No, I think her interpretation of that is like, oh man, I just love you, man. Like that kind of thing.
Like a chill love, not I'm in love with you.
Yeah.
I want to wear your skin.
Well, that's a different part of the spectrum. No, it's...
Wait, there's a spectrum?
Sure. There's a spectrum for anything, spectrum? Really.
Okay, so if
Like innocent to obsessive and stalkery and murdery?
I wouldn't... Hold on here. Let's not murder shame. So...
No, let's. Let's shame stalkers who murder people.
No, we can shame stalkers, but like we've talked about this, if you die, I get to wear your skin.
I mean,
that's our agreement.
Well, you get to deal with my family on that issue, so...
They're not gonna know, like, you get cremated, they think it's ashes, it's not. We're all happy in the end.
No, you're not faking a cremation for my family. Especially now that this is on the record.
Well, you don't get a say in it, you're dead.
You better hope nobody listens to this episode, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I'll delete it.
Oh, it's gonna be already out there. I'm the one who edited it. That's it.
Yeah, but like this, you're not gonna die for a long time. You're gonna forget about it.
This episode will be out here, like out there for a long time.
Yeah, but no one's gonna know. And
Are you saying no one listens? No one's gonna listen to this episode.
No, what I'm saying is, by the time that you're dead,
but by the time
this will be irrelevant.
By the time
I'll deny it all.
By the time I'm dead, though, this will be out on the internet for years, and nothing really leaves the internet.
No, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm gonna worry about it.
It'll be fine.
All right. But, no, this is, what I was gonna say is the quote is, I think I love you, which is a little less intense than...
I think I'm in love with you.
Than, like, I'm in love with you. Be with me now. So, yeah. I think she'd consider it sweet in that sort of, like, love you man type of way.
Yeah.
But, I don't think she cares what people say.
No. For reals, though, red flag. Disregard what I say in my own relationship. It does not apply to yours.
Especially the skin-wearing part.
We have an arrangement. It's okay. If you see an attractive stranger offline, do you introduce yourself? Yes, usually. Yes, but only in certain settings, bars, clubs, etc. Once in a while or never.
Freyja probably does.
Yeah. I'd say she usually does.
Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily just because like she wants to bone down or anything.
I think she just talks.
Yeah.
She gets to know people.
She's a social butterfly.
She rocks that free spirit thing.
Me? No.
That's because you're clueless. Or we're clueless.
Well, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, if I see an attractive stranger, I'm not just going to walk up to them and be like, hi!
Yeah, well, I can say from the receiving end, it's weird. Especially when you're just like, I'm trying to be here enjoying a drink with my friend. Can you please not do this right now?
I mean, there are obviously other settings where you can introduce yourself to people, like group activities and things like that, where just where you can just have a conversation.
Yeah, which you can't do at a metal show.
Again, specific examples. Life experience.
Been jaded by
How
life.
long did it take you to sew those patches on your vest?
Did I tell you about the guy who said he thought I could beat him up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had weird experiences at shows. Stories for another time. I never introduce myself to strangers. Like, that is kind of just like...
Unless you have to in an academic setting.
Or, like, a network setting, or if I see someone who's, like, overdosed or in crisis. Then
yeah, but you don't introduce yourself.
You actually have to. First aid law in Canada says, as a first aider, you have to introduce yourself.
Like, hi, I'm Natasha. Long walks on the beach.
No, you just have to be like, hi, my name's Natasha. I'm a first aider. Can I help you?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Unless they're unconscious, but you still have to actually say it if they're unconscious and just assume consent at that point. So, yeah.
I think she'll accept anyone but never.
Yeah.
Because she wants to be approached, too.
She wants that action.
But that's probably only a little bit important.
Yeah.
Let's skip to 2:15.
Have you ever been in love?
Yes or no? I mean, like, I think so, man.
No, I've never been in love.
Oh. Bye.
I would describe it. I've been in weird with you.
You've been in weird with me, yes.
Yeah.
We're very weird.
If only you knew.
Wait, them? Or me?
Maybe both.
I don't know how weird we are. Okay. So...
Have you ever wondered what it's
No,
like?
stop. I think Freyja has.
I think she thinks she's been
I think she's
love.
in love with everyone she's ever met.
Yeah. She's like a serial romantic.
Yeah.
I think she'll only accept yes too.
Why?
Because she doesn't want to be, or do you think she wants to, like, be someone's first?
No, it's just, this is accepting, like, does it matter to her whether someone she meets has ever been in love with someone before?
Maybe she wants someone who feels that way, or knows what it's like and can connect on that. I'm trying to give her character.
No, I understand that. I just think it's a weird requirement to have of somebody.
Oh, it can be her one flaw.
She's supposed to be accepting, though. We've established that.
We've also established she's kind of a bitch. So maybe she's just kind of a bitch this way. Just throw it out there. Just like one of those curveballs.
Okay, my last point on this, though, is going to be that in love, not have you ever loved someone, have you ever been in love, meaning like an intense relationship. She doesn't go for intense relationships, so why would she require someone else to have that?
Okay, fair point.
Okay. I just don't think she cares.
I don't think you care.
And that's...
Do you care about Freyja?
Let's look at our top 3 here. We've got a lot of men with beards.
Men with beards.
We've got a straight man looking for single women. Natural gas planner. Sings to his dogs.
Like all night. Just like comes home and is like, "Puppy, I'm home. Let me sing you this karaoke song."
That's kind of adorable, actually. He's a 54% match. And
knows the perfect crust to cheese ratio when it comes to grilled cheese.
Likes riding motorcycles.
I would want to test
one
that.
One of the things he could never do without is peanut butter. I feel you, bro.
There was a time in my life where I didn't eat peanut butter.
I like his spend a lot of time thinking about how hard is it for people to re-rack their weights. Oh, I feel you on that one. Which multiverse theory is correct? Is the pizza done yet? He likes pizza a lot. You should message me if you know what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was cooking.
What does that refer to?
The Rock's catchphrase is, "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?"
No.
We've got...
What was he cooking?
I
Our
don't know.
likes are back up to 2001. Did you notice that?
Oh, weird. We've surpassed our max stats. This is a strange sight. We've got that...
What gave you that impression?
Is this the same guy where he's got the message me and find out self-summary?
Yeah.
It was the same guy we found before.
Yeah.
Even though we moved her? Speaking of which, we should move Freyja again,
I think it's time for
it's
Freyja to move
new
on.
city. We've got another straight man. He's a vegan. He's spiritual.
Not religious, though.
No, apparently not.
Okay, you watch too many movies, but you don't really watch TV. Bro, you're missing out.
I'm open to a lot of music. 6 things I could never do without. Meditation, and that's it. Counting is apparently not one of them.
On a typical Friday night, I don't do typical.
Kinda like, whoa, man.
Well, that would be... I mean, as far as OkCupid's algorithm goes, spot on for Freyja.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's done some great matches for her, for sure.
Yeah. So that's gonna do it. We would like to thank our listeners for following the show. You can find us at our website, faculty.ca, fakvlty.ca. And that has a bunch of our content on it, stuff we write, stuff we record. That also has... Yeah. But it has links to our shows on archive.org, iTunes, and YouTube.
So go check out my Labor of Love video on sentient gonads, because that was fun.
More to come, hopefully.
That was a nice episode. Yeah, if I can figure out the animation part of it.
We've got a few bits that we would like to animate.
Or that you said, hey, listen to this. This would be fun to animate. And I'm like, okay, guess I have time now. Please... I've looked on Twitter, and no one's using the hashtag #FindFreyja except us.
Well, you said we were getting a lot of Instagram likes. Maybe we can ask people to spread the hashtag on Instagram as well.
That's not how Instagram works, my dear old...
People use hashtags on Instagram.
They do, but, like, differently. I'll explain this later.
Yeah.
But if that hashtag is FindFreyja, FINEFREYJA, and also leave us reviews on iTunes, because that's actually what helps get our podcast out there.
Yeah, and
so that would be super cool.
This is kind of up in the air right now, but in December, I would really like it if we could represent Find Freyja at PodCon in Seattle. That would be really awesome. So it's something we're thinking about. And I would also like to thank James R. Bayless for doing our disclaimer at the top of the show. If you want to book him, you can reach his voice agent, Gemma Crow, at gemma@turnerfilmgroup.com. This has been Find Freyja. I'm Mark.
I'm Natasha, and I'm closing for once. So love someone with your genitals.
You close sometimes.